probably around junior, senior year in high school was when I started partying, going out, with friends, and it started off with drinking alcohol, and the more parties I went to, drugs started showing up, and then eventually I experimented with a few different ones. I don't know that there's really any I haven't tried, and eventually though, one got a hold of me, and I remember my dad telling me when I was going through all this that I should stop while I was ahead because I would wind up finding one that I would fall in love with. And I did, and that was opiates. I just got to a point where I couldn't get opiates anymore. The people that I was getting the opiates from told me that they couldn't get a hold of those anymore, but they could get heroin, and it was a lot cheaper, and the high was more intense, but the same. So, before I was supposed to get married, I just told myself just gonna have one more little go around with it before getting married, and that was gonna be, it for me. I was gonna quit. Unfortunately, though, the batch of stuff that I got wound up having fentanyl in it, and I overdosed. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up in my house with cops, paramedics, and firefighters, and everything around me, and that they had told me, asked me, did I know what had happened, and I told them, no, I didn't have a clue. And they told me I'd overdosed and was pretty much dead. And unfortunately, my fiance at the time is the one that found me. I'm sad that she had to see that and deal with that. And she's the one that found me and called the cops and helped me, you know, try to bring me back, keep me alive until they got there. I straightened up for a little while, and after the wedding and after our marriage and everything, for a few months after that, I kind of started going back to the heroin a little bit. When things would get rough, that's what I would turn to. Eventually, though, my family wound up seeing a baggie that I had left out, and of course, they asked me about it, and I tried to tell them that it wasn't heroin, it was something else, and that it was older from a while back, but they wound up having it tested, and it was heroin. I agreed to go to a 30-day program, and I really wanted to come off of the stuff, but it was more so for like save my marriage and for family stuff. After I got out of the 30-day program, of course, once again, I went back to using heroin off and on, and it eventually led to the drug charges. I went to purchase some heroin one day, and I was caught in the act. Wound up getting, surrounded by cops, ATF. Was arrested and taken to jail, where I picked up charges for possession of heroin with attempt to resell and drug paraphernalia. After the drug charges, that of course that still wasn't enough, so I went back to the heroin again, and of course I was using heroin IV. It wound up setting up infection inside of my chest cavity, and caused me to build up fluids in my chest cavity, which collapsed my lung. And I tried to fight it and just keep doing heroin to deal with the pain, and thought that it would go away, but it never did. So finally, I had to go to the hospital, and they had to drain all the fluid out of my chest so that my lung could, not be collapsed anymore. And after they did that, they found in there that there was infection that had set up on the outside of my lung and on the inside of my rib cage, which was going to require surgery. It was pretty painful surgery. So the first time, my first surgery of the two, I just dealt with it with non-narcotic medication. So once I got home, I was taking ibuprofen, but it just wasn't helping with the pain. So once again, I decided, well, I know how to deal with this. I'll just go get more heroin. And during that time, my wife, she could tell that I was using again. After she had caught me buying the drugs, I knew that I was at a point in my life, I felt like God was telling me that I had to do something. I just, I'd overdose, drug charges, and the surgery that I had, just everything. And now looking at a divorce, that's what really hit me was I knew that I was probably going to be looking at a divorce over this. And I just knew, it's like God pricked my heart and was telling me it's time for a change. I called my dad and asked him, could I come down there and stay? He told me yes, but under one condition, that next morning I was going to be calling and finding somewhere to go as far as another rehab. While I was in there, from me using the heroin again, it caused the same infection to come back that I had the surgery for the first time. And I wound up having to go back to the hospital and have the same surgery done over again, not even a month later. Went back to the rehab that I was at. The pain was just so unbearable that I couldn't participate in the program. I met with the staff there, and we decided that probably a good idea to go back home for a couple weeks and try to recover. While I was back at home trying to recover, I felt like God spoke to me again and told me that the program I was in wasn't what I needed and wasn't where I needed to be. So I contacted a program, a long-term faith-based program. The program I'm actually in now is Teen Challenge, and it's out in Arizona. But as far as my relationship with my wife, ex-wife, I'm trying to work on that. I'm not sure if that's going to come back around or not. I've been praying about that, and I know if it's God's will that will happen. But that's kind of where I'm at. Yep.
What was it that truly did stop you from using?
I wouldn't say that it was necessarily any program. Teen Challenge is not what saves you, in my opinion, and is God is what will save you, and that's how you will overcome addiction and be able to live a life free of addiction and sober. But Teen Challenge is a good program to go to. Teen Challenge just gives you a place to where you can go and be away from the world and really focus one-on-one.
Any words of wisdom that you would like to give someone that may be in the position that you were in?
Yes, I would just like to say, don't be afraid to reach out for help. I know that sometimes that it is embarrassing and hard to deal with, but it's never too late, no matter your age or your situation. I know a lot of people sometimes think that they're too far gone. There's nobody that can help them. I've done too much, but I just want to let you know that it's never too late to start over. And most important thing, God will meet you where you're at and will help you through it.